Hey everyone, Jamie Pate here, and welcome to this process video. This is process video number 3. I'm using the Auburn lane by Pink Paislee. I was doing a guest spot for them on their post, and this is the third layout that I'm going to be working on. This time I'm going to be using a single photo, family photo. It's about a 5x7. I have one of my die cuts here. I'll link that up. This really pretty text paper. It's paper number 4. It's going to be a background. I like just how neutral it is to this black and white photo. And I'm going to pop that with probably some cutouts from this number 11 paper. Great paper, cutaway, all kinds of words and icons and just beautiful patterns that go on with that. Then there's this paper number 3, and I'm thinking of maybe using it for maybe a cutaway, not cutaway, I'm sorry, fussy cutting a flower. I've kind of gone through all my flower embellishments, so I might need another one. We'll see how that goes. Another item I really want to use is the Happy Life thickers, and this is just a sans serif. This particular side is a bit of a rose gold. And so I really want to use those. And of course, ephemera is going to find its place somewhere in there. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to get my place ready here to do this page. And I have decided to use this die cut. And I'm pretty sure that I'm not liking how big it is yet. I went ahead and added a second one. I just cut it slightly larger than the first. And I like the fullness of it better. It just feels better against that 5x7. It was too thin before. So what I'm going to do is paint the die cut wreath. And I'll be using Heidi Swapp's Color Shine. I love to paint with the Color Shine. This is blush. It's a little bit older color. It was in my stash. It's a color though that goes so beautifully, perfectly well with the Auburn lane. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit while I paint both of these. And so I just sprayed the Color Shine. What am I painting with? The Color Shine in a cup and just used it like that. And Color Shine doesn't give a complete opaque coverage. It gives more of a translucent coverage. Plus then you have it shine, obviously the Color Shine. So there's just that beautiful little effect that painting I found when I paint with Color Shine gives. Just a little bit more depth, I think. And again, I'm using American Craft textured cardstock, just the white. Has a little bit of texture in it, so it picks up the paint a little bit differently than a smooth cardstock. So for me, this is just one of my go-to techniques when I'm painting is Color Shine and the textured cardstock. I'm going to go and dry both of these wreaths a little bit so I can go ahead and get started. This is a super thin die cut, as you can tell. So I just have to be super careful as I'm cutting with it or painting with it. Back to my background page, I'm going to layer on those dried painted die cuts. And I like using this sticky thumb. It's a glue that has a sponge applicator, and I don't want my die cut to be flat against the page. It's okay if it lifts in areas. So I'm just gluing it at certain points around the circle. And I'm not looking for perfection here. Again, I like the float effect. I like that it doesn't adhere all the way down. So I'm just kind of splotching the glue in places. And that is working out for me pretty well. Yeah, I like the 5x7 sitting on that thicker part of those die cuts much better. So then, like I said, I was going to use this pattern paper with all the cutaways, and I decided to use the Beautiful piece as basically my title. And it's going to be trimmed out and carefully save all those other pieces for another time. I like to distress the edges. I like that texture against it. I like the height. I kind of like that shabby kind of feel that it gives. And so that's what I'm doing first before I add it to my page. This page, I decided to be a little more symmetrical. So I'm going down the middle with all my embellishments this time. So this title piece is going to center itself on my photo. So I'm going to kind of layer it over. I want it to layer over both the photo and the wreath. So that was a perfect fit for me. I wanted to use the thickers and I keep calling it sort of a rose gold. I guess it's a rose gold. It's just so pretty. But the second side of the thickers that is part of this collection is this sort of rose gold. And I wanted to finish my title with these letters. So I'm going to start on the right side. I'm sorry, that's on my left side. I'm going to start on the left side with my title. I'm going to do the last word. I'm going to start it on the right side first, and then I'll finish in the middle. And that way, I'll go back and tweak this a little bit. But that way it was centered there on my page underneath that beautiful. I wanted to be centered completely under the beautiful. So I wanted my title to say beautiful ones I love. This is a photo from Easter a couple years ago that I am just now getting to. And that's okay. There's no catching up. There's just enjoying the moment in the process. There's just enjoying the story that you're in. So those are slightly wonky. I'll go back and I'll fix those. I'm sure I won't leave them like that. So then I hadn't quite made a decision about what to do at the top. And I'm looking at some ephemera, and I'll pull this paper down here in a minute so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing. But I had a few of these embellishment die cut flowers left. And I like the idea of having those up top. With what I had left, I didn't quite have it figured out yet. It took me a little bit, and I think I even came back to it again. And sometimes that's my way. Sometimes I just have to let something go and come back to it. And I even decided, well, maybe I should use this paper to add a fussy cut flower, but the watercolor just wasn't cohesive enough. So I ended up using this, but with a little bit of a twist. And again, like I said, I will probably come back to this in a little bit and finish that out because I wasn't quite done with it yet. Okay, back to those flowers. So I did have a larger piece left, and I decided I'm going to use that to be the background to my flowers. So it's sticking up from underneath the photo. I bent up the edges a little bit, and then I pop dotted this small little sort of wreath sort of piece. And then I needed just a little bit more texture, a little more height. So that's why I decided to cut the leaves off of that singular flower. And I'm just going to add a little bit of adhesive to it and tack it there and pull the leaves up. And it's a little difficult to get the dimension here while we're looking at this video, but there is a dimension definitely there. There's a little more height. There's a little more interest that took place there. And I liked how those flowers came out of the top. And just when it was done, I was like, okay, that's it. Don't touch it anymore. You're good. Simple and good. My journaling, I printed out some journaling strips on my computer. I like to use Traveler's typewriter. And I almost always, when I create type journal strips, I use Traveler's typewriter font. I use a font size 12. And then I use lead size 14. It just makes it super easy to go in and cut in between without snipping off part of a letter. So this is what I'm doing here. Again, I'm loving that sticky thumb glue with the little sponge applicator. I just add a little bit of glue right in the middle. Again, I want my journaling pieces to sort of float a little bit and they don't have to be perfect. I don't want them adhered flat. I just want to give this a bit of an ethereal. I keep thinking of that word, ethereal. I think ethereal is the word I want. Sort of an ethereal feel. And while this layout is very soft and very pastel-esque, when it was done, I was super pleased with it. I loved how that blush color shine worked with the colors in the Auburn lane. And I liked how I centered it all the way down the middle and kept all my embellishments not so much clustered, but a little more linear. So I was pretty happy with this layout. Hey guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.